As far as my reason for choosing NCATS, the environment here is wonderful. It's really collaborative, which is unlike academia. I feel like academia is very much, not that there's anything wrong with academia, but academia is very much, you're by yourself, there's no sharing of information, and I love that NCATS is sharing. I feel like I can go up to almost anybody, ask questions, and no one's going to push me away for that. There's an opportunity to learn so many things here that you wouldn't necessarily learn in an academic institute. Like, I know so much more about the patent process, for example, than I ever knew beforehand. And it may seem silly, but when you're discovering new technologies or new drugs, patenting often comes into play. And so having kind of that fundamental understanding has been really important for me, and it also helps me keep up with other conversations as well. Knowing what I know now, I think NCATS is the perfect place for translational science. That's really what we're focused on here. There's a lot of collaboration and innovation going on here. We truly do exemplify what translational science is. As part of the pharmacokinetics and drug metabolism group, I am fortunate enough to work on a lot of projects. However, one project that I specifically myself have addressed is the issue of, can we predict in vivo oral bioavailability, or can we predict how drugs are going to interact with the body in real organisms? Can we predict that ahead of time with in silico results? And do those match our in vitro results? And so what we did here is we are investigating how drugs interact with the body and how they are taken up in the intestinal system, because we're looking specifically at oral drugs. So what we're doing here is we took a set of compounds, about 127 of them. We tested them with our PAMPA assay, which stands for Parallel Artificial Membrane Permeability Assay. It's the in vitro way of being able to replicate or model how the intestine uptakes compounds. We do it by putting things onto a plate with a special lipid membrane that we apply to it. So we run this assay, we get the results, and we're able to categorize them as low permeability, meaning that they aren't absorbed very well, and moderate to high permeability, meaning that they are absorbed well. So we get those results, and then and we tested compounds that we specifically already had in vivo data for. So we already knew what they did in vivo. We took those results and correlated them. And what we found was that our two different assays, because we perform these at two different pHs, one is at pH 5, which is where absorption is more likely to occur in the intestine, and the other is at pH 7.4, which mimics cellular uptake. And we found that with both of those assays, we had at least an 80% correlation between the in vitro results and the in vivo results. My career goals are maybe a little less traditional than other scientists. I'm wanting to go into the science communication realm. Seeing the effects of good public health communication during the pandemic has really made me realize that we need people out there who are familiar with science, but also are able to relate to the public, but also to scientists themselves. Not only have I gained scientific skills here, I now know how to run new platforms and technologies. I can do various assays. I can talk about drug metabolism and pharmacokinetics at a decent level. I know what I'm talking about just a little bit. But at the same time, being in the collaborative environment and having to talk with so many people, the fast work pace, or even having to cater things to people's specific project needs, I think are all skills that, while you can do specifically in science, translate really well into those soft skills categories that we like to talk about. There's also plenty of opportunities for presentations. I've had opportunities for publications, which is always really nice. Going through that process can be a little bit daunting until you do it for the first time. The mission of translational science itself is a really good takeaway. What can we do? Can we take all these ideas from multiple places and make it easier for people in the end?